Right now we're going to look at different ways that you can view and select the data that you wish to analyze in LoggerPro. And we'll do this in the context of using LoggerPro to measure the frequency of a tuning fork. Remember, we have the collect button right here, the green play button. It's also useful to know that you can push the space bar instead of clicking on that button. And that can be a little easier sometimes when your hands are occupied doing other things, such as striking the tuning fork gently against your knee and holding it next to the microphone. I recorded that, and look, I didn't get a very good picture there, so I'm going to try it again. And that's much better. So now we have a nice picture of this wave, and I'm ready to measure a set amount of time. So I'm going to start at one of the crests here. And notice when I drag the cursor, if I click and hold, that I get some highlighting. If I just go in one dimension, left to right, it's going to be light blue, but if I also include the vertical dimension, then it turns darker blue. Now at this point, I'm really only interested in the amount of time, so I'm going to start at one wave crest here. So that's 0 waves, 1 wave, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 waves. And if I want to know the amount of time that those 10 waves took, I'm now given the dimensions of the highlighted or selected section down here. I've got delta t equals 0.01960 and delta y is 0.014. Well, delta t, the change of time, is what I'm interested in. I can use that to determine the frequency with the number of waves divided by that amount of time. Now suppose that I want to look at a different amount of the graph and change the numbers that are on the axis here. There are a few different ways I could do that. One of those is I could simply click on one of the numbers and type in a new value. It was 0.03, I could change that to 0.05. Hit enter, and it has changed the scale of the axis. I could change this 0 to -1 if I like to. It's not very useful, but that is a simple way to change the axis scales. I can also click on the axis and just drag it. That can be useful as well. Now this has gone completely out of scale. So I'll type that back into what it was and put this back at 0. I could do a similar thing for the y-axis and change that, move it up and down, or just type in numbers. Another option is having LoggerPro auto scale for me. And to do that, I simply push Command J, or if you're on a PC, Control J. And that will zoom into what it deems to be the best scale. That may not be the best scale for you, but it is often a good starting point. So I think I would still want to change the vertical axis here. And I can easily do that. Let's say I want to look at a lot more of that wave. So I click this and I want to see like a whole half second of that. So I type in 0.5. I noticed there was no data collected there. That's because the sensor was not told to collect data for that long. If we go up here, we can to this clock icon, we can change the sampling parameters. So I click on that and I see that it was told to collect data for the duration of 0.03 seconds. Well, I can change that to 0.05. Well, it doesn't have the data. I'm going to have to collect some new data, so I'll go ahead and do that. Now I have a half second's worth of data. I can't see very clearly what I want to do, so I could zoom in. I have the option of changing the axis values as we saw before, or another simple method is to simply highlight a section you want to see. Or by that I mean select. So I can select some section and simply click on zoom, and it will zoom in only onto that selected section. I could do that again if I like. Zoom in even further. This is a very simple way to look at a particular section of the data that you want, and you can simply unzoom when you like. One thing to be careful of here is you want to make sure that you are selecting in both the horizontal and vertical dimensions. If you only do one dimension, for example, I go left to right, or I'm not being careful with my vertical dimension and I zoom, I'm seeing nothing because I told it to zoom only on that dark blue section. Sometimes you might see that and you're only looking at the very top of the data and you're wondering where the rest is. It's because you didn't select appropriately. Remember to do the entire thing, like such.